Hello, welcome back to the Leeds lobby. We've been absent for a while. We have been in Brighton enjoying some ice creams and days on the beach. But we are back, and Dad's just faffing about behind the camera. But we are back, and we are ready to do a phone-in. That's that. We are ready to do a phone-in. So in the chat, there are links that I have put in. If you click on that link, you'll be able to come on the stream with us and chat with us about the Chelsea game. So feel free to do that.
Before we do that, we want to just have a little bit of a chat about the game at the weekend against Southampton. Interesting game. There's pretty much everything that's to be said about the game has already been said.
Toby.
I think we watched that game. There was a bit of massive contrast with the game before, with the Wolves game, in the sense that I think that one of the things that was so good with that Wolves game was the game management. What got me about it is that we almost learn lessons to see. We seem to forget that which we've learned. The Wolves game, we have that 20-minute period between the sort of the 45th minute, obviously the start of the second half.
Good evening, Joel.
And the second half, and Jesse Marsh brought on Click and brought on players that really transform that game and caused us to be able to go and win it. Click obviously was very, very important. And then obviously we played the Southampton game. These players are absolutely knackered. You can see they're worn out. You can see Harrison is running on empty, not because he's not fit, but because it's the start of the season. He's not fully got up to speed yet. Even Aaronson's starting to run out of steam. And we're in a situation where the temperature is probably at a high point because we started a couple of weeks early than normal on account of the World Cup.
Good afternoon, Paul.
And his game management just seemed all over the place. I mean, what's he bringing people on in the 88th minute for?
That was a bit shaky, really. We had a few players that we could have brought on that could have sorted that game out nicely, but we didn't, and it really cost us. Yeah.
The stream, incidentally, there is a link in the comments if you want to come on the show and you want to have a bit of a conversation with us, either about the Southampton game and you've got some comments. Maybe you want to make some points about transfers. Please, obviously, click that link and you will enter into our lobby, and we will then get you on the show.
Yeah, I'm putting some links in, so please do join. We want to talk to some of you about this.
What was everybody else's impressions of that game? Do you think we did enough? I mean, for me, it's a bit of a funny weekend. We were 2-0 up. We played so well in the first half. That's the first thing. The first half, we looked to dominate. His setup was spot on.
We have Alfie on UFC waiting to join, so we'll have you on in a minute.
The pressing looked like it worked. Where we actually scored our goals from, the first goal, we won it from a pressing position. We were looking dangerous from set pieces. And then obviously we came in, and in the first half we scored that. In the second half we scored that goal really, really early, which was spot on. Then we scored a goal from set pieces. And it was almost like the Southampton players seemed to hang their heads and look at it, almost felt like they were going to be edged out of the game. And then we conceded this silly goal, and the team seemed to run out of speed. But what I can't understand is why Jesse Marsh didn't spot that.
Yeah. I think people are asking about Mark Jackson's. Obviously, I think he's become head of set pieces, and I think that some of the Arsenal goal comes to mind where we sort of scored a consolation goal when they were 2-0 up, and they put it to the front post. Firpo flicked it on for Llorente at the back post, and it was just brilliant. But we do have Alfie in the waiting room, so we'll get you on now, mate.
It was on there for a second. Alfie, how are you doing, Alfie?
I'm all right, thanks.
How are you doing? So what did you make of the game at the weekend, Alfie?
Just a good start, but we just kind of threw it away, didn't we?
Yeah. Who do you think was at fault? Where do you think the weaknesses in the overall team were?
Probably our fullbacks. Not great, are they?
Yeah, we have a real problem with fullbacks. Do you think Rasmus is gonna sort himself out, or do you think he's gonna just be like another Firpo?
Just getting used to the squad, innit? I mean,
I think he needs time to adjust to the system. It's quite funny because everyone was really hyped about Rasmus, and everyone thought that he was gonna just come in and be this Viking, but it's not been like that for him, has it?
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, these players came in, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, he was the one that, for me, certainly when you look at the YouTube clips, and I mean, we all judge players coming in now via YouTube clips. He seemed to be the one that I think was most excited when we looked at, a player that was probably going to be an improvement on what was there before. Somebody who's going to be a regular starter. But for me, I'm looking at now that setup, and I'm thinking if he continues to play the way he's playing, he's not necessarily going to definitely be the person who starts in that right berth. What do you think, Alfie? I think we've lost him.
Alfie, mate.
Are you still there, buddy?
Yeah.
What do you think, if when Ayling gets fit, who do you think is going to start in that right berth? Do you think that it's definitely going to be Ayling? Do you think there might be a situation where it ends up being Rasmus, or do you think they're going to give Drame a chance? What do you think?
I think it'll be Rasmus most of the time, but I think they might give Ayling a few chances there as well. Yeah.
Do you think we're going to sign anybody before the end of the window?
I hope so, but I don't see us signing anyone.
Do you not? No.
If we were to sign someone, do you think we'll be more likely to sign a striker or a left back? Which one do you think Marsh thinks we need more?
I think we need a striker more to get them goals, to press more. And I think the club would sign a striker over a left back as well.
Yeah. Do you think that's going to leave us a little bit short at left back? Do you think we need somebody, or do you think we've got enough cover in that area?
No, we need a left back as well, but
yeah. Who's your preferred central defensive partnership? If we signed a left back now that was going to come in and either challenge Firpo or supplant Firpo, what does that leave us in the centre position? Does that leave us with? Obviously, we've got currently Koch and Llorente playing. Is Llorente cutting the mustard for you? Is he the person who should necessarily start alongside Koch, or what's your thoughts there?
I'd have Cooper and Koch me, but
You'd have Cooper and Koch, would you?
Yeah, just looks more like solid, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I think Koch is definitely the preferred centre back.
So who's just before you go, Alfie, just let us know what do you think is going to happen with the Chelsea game at the weekend? Obviously, it's a home game. It's the first time we're playing a team that you'd consider to be a Big Six team. How do you think we're going to fare?
I think we'll put up a match, but I think we'll concede a bit too early. That's what always happens with the big teams. Just concede early.
Well, let's hope not. But it's been great having you on, Alfie. And next time we do this, we're to have you on again. See you next time, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, cheers for coming on, mate.
So that's Alfie. What Alfie seems to think with regards to the upcoming game. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, we played against Chelsea. Was it last season when we had? I think the first season we're in the Premiership. We had a 0-0 draw, and I watched that game, and it was probably one of the most exciting 0-0 draws I've ever seen.
Chelsea. It was Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
Was it at Stamford Bridge?
No,
was it?
It was Chelsea at Elland Road.
Elland Road, and we played all the way through that game. We competed right the way through that game.
Chelsea 2, Leeds Q. Yes, I think Leeds will score Q goals.
Yeah,
I agree, Stefan.
Yeah.
There's some predictions coming in.
Do we think Leeds are going to have what it takes to win this game? Do we think there's a possibility we might win this game, or do you think we're going to struggle? Toby J says he thinks it's going to be 3-2 to Chelsea. He's a Forest fan. Doesn't really count. Do we think that we've got enough? Do we think that obviously we're not going to have anybody in now before the weekend?
Guys, just feel free to do what you did with Red Sunset last time and just hound Toby out. Just have him gone. Just bully, absolutely tear him a new one in the comments. What do we
think is going to actually happen the weekend? What do you think, Dan?
I think that we'll put up a really good fight, and I think at half time it'll be 0-0. I think it wouldn't surprise me. It would surprise me. I would not be overwhelmed if it was a draw. I wouldn't be. Yeah, I think it will be a loss, but if we're going to get something out of one of the Big Six teams this year, I think it's going to be Chelsea.
So I think the talking points for the Southampton game is where we seem to be struggling was where we were so strong in the first game, which was the game management. I think you're away from home. You are 2-0 up. We need to be wasting time. We need to be running that clock down. And we need to be making sure that we're solid at the back, and we almost need to be shooting up shop. I know Jesse Marsh went to a 5 at the back at one stage. Didn't work for us. We almost changed formation, and we went to a 4-2-2-2. But apparently, what's on that sheet of paper that somehow ended up in the opposition right back's hand. He was trying to figure out what was going
Kyle
on.
Walker-Peters
Looking longingly at this piece of paper that was given to Dan James and been passed around. And then we were in a situation where we just seemed to lose it, and then we let them score those 2 goals, and we were all screaming, thinking we've dropped 2 points. We should be in 6 points here.
What do you think was the note? What do you think the note said? What do you think the contents of the note was?
I think the notes were a change of formation on account of the fact we seemed to be struggling, and for whatever reason we just seemed to run out of steam. We just seemed to run out of steam. But in the previous game,
I think the note probably contains something like "Get your schnizzle together, lads."
But I think to go from a situation where we've
got a super chat for
Jan, who's in Norway. Is it Norway you're in? I think he said good hello from Norway earlier on.
That is
Norway.
50 NOKs.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that relates to.
Thank you very much for supporting the channel. That's absolutely fantastic.
And donating.
I think we were looking like, look, here's the thing, we went 2-0 up. We were all thinking Southampton, we were hoping we were going to be able to win that game. It was an away game, but it was one that had 3 points written all over it for us in terms of how we played the previous game.
Yeah.
We went 2-0 up. We pressed in the first half. That pressing for me looks like it really, really works. We seem to be, if we're not in a situation where we've got an out ball, we're pumping the ball up the field, and then we're pressing and we're getting the ball back, and we're winning ball back in an attacking position. For me, Aronson looks amazing. It's not any surprise that he's got the top pressing actions in the whole of the Premiership so far this year. We've got the top striker in Rodrigo, and I think that if we can keep him scoring goals, and this system seems to suit him. Back end of last season, the last 4 games, he scored 3 goals. He's obviously scored goals for fun in pre-season.
Yeah.
Now he's scored 3 goals in the first 2 games this season.
I don't think he actually scored in pre-season.
You're joking. That last another game you missed. He got a hat-trick.
No, he got a hat-trick of assists. Rodrigo got a hat-trick.
No, Rodrigo got a hat-trick. I'm talking about Rodrigo.
I thought you were talking about Aronson.
No, to keep Rodrigo in that run of form. And this is why, for me, what's really, really important this weekend, if I think it's going to be my perfect weekend. Firstly, we'll win the game. Secondly, Aronson gets his first goal. Thirdly, we have a situation where Sinisterra comes on and he's good. And we actually think, crikey, we've got the play, we're open. Thirdly, Rodrigo gets another goal and Scum lose. For me, that's a perfect weekend. Now, again,
Scum have Liverpool, so that's
on
one
Monday,
one of those teams will end up being without a win in the first 3 games. So that's going to be an interesting game.
Who said I'm a Leeds fan, but I think Chelsea will win? Stephen Pudsey. Possibly, but again, what we've got to bear in mind is that the Chelsea games that we've had these last 2 seasons have been narrow margin games. They've not walked all over us. If you look at the full spectrum of the games we've played against Chelsea, we've had tight games. We had that game way back where Joffrey scored, didn't we?
Yeah.
Where we should have won that game. Click gave a penalty away, didn't he? Or a free kick on the edge of the box.
That was Southampton. Joffrey didn't score.
That was the Bob comment, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the Bob comment. Joffrey didn't score in that game, though. It was Harrison that scored against Southampton.
Gary Keys says we need to be aggressive and in their faces from minute 1, from end to end. We can't let the game get stressed. Completely agree with you. And this is what I think is exciting about this Leeds team that I'm seeing under Jesse Marsh.
Yeah.
We're all over teams like a rash all the while.
People call it killer bees. The Marsh swarm.
I think Aronson is going to be horrible to play against. I think Tyler Adams is horrible to play against. I think that's what we've brought in.
Yeah.
But for me, I just think being in their face from the minute one is key. Completely agree. Harrison seems to be doing well in this system. Rodrigo seems to be doing well in this system, and
Bamford seems to be look a lot more sharp in the first 2 games. Obviously, he's out injured now.
But game management is a massive thing for us. If we're going to play this system and we're going to chase for 90 minutes every single ball in the way that we have to be around about the 60th or 70th minute. We have to be putting fresh legs on. Jason Redshaw, lads, good to catch you live. Dan, have a word with your dad. We do not beat Chelsea.
Yeah.
Jason, why don't you click the link and come on? If you look at the chat, you can post the link again, Dan. If you want to come on the show and you want to have your say and you want to have an opinion and have a chat to us about the game, please click the link. Make sure that you actually like the video, and if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe.
But Jason, I do have to have words with him frequently. There are frequently people saying, Dan, your dad has said something of utter, has had a moment of utter stupidity, and you need to have word with him and sort him out. So yeah, this isn't unusual for me. Obviously, Ayling at centre back comes to mind. Leeds finishing 7th or 8th comes to mind. There are a few.
Yeah, let's get behind the scene.
I love your dad. Put down the crazy pills.
Jan Vidar Nilsson. I think we're going to see more of Sinistera in this game.
Sinistera.
And we have the fans at home. So the Chelsea Manera out with suspension. Yeah, who have they got out with suspension?
They have Thomas Tuchel, their manager.
Oh, the manager out with suspension.
And Kante is out injured. Kante, arguably the best CDM in the world, is out injured, which is absolutely huge for us.
Harry Giovannetti, what needs to happen for Leeds to defeat Chelsea? What is the best case scenario? That's a good question, Dan.
What needs to happen for Leeds to beat Chelsea? We need Rio Ferdinand to come back from retirement. Not Rio Ferdinand, Jermaine Beckford to come back from retirement and walk down the tunnel on that pitch and get a super hat-trick. No, I think we need...
ashamed. How can you say that the only way for this team to beat Chelsea is
not the only way. We could do with Viduka as well.
What do we know? What do we need to see? Chelsea are not... Mate, Chelsea. How many points have Chelsea on so far this season?
Pardon? How many points have
They've
Chelsea?
drawn with Tottenham.
And they've beat Everton.
Hold
on. Okay.
And by the sound of it, Everton give a decent account of themselves.
Okay. We need a lineup that's going to be able to contain their 2 wingers, obviously, of Sterling, because Sterling's going to rip Rasmus a new one. So we need to play fullbacks that are going to contain Sterling.
Sterling doesn't know when to pass and doesn't know when to shoot.
No. That's for England. For his club, he's actually quite prolific. And
how can you say that? He's only played 2 games for Chelsea.
Yeah, but for City. Have you seen his assistant goal record for City?
He's not playing for City. He's not got.
It doesn't matter.
He's not got Aguero in front of him.
He didn't have Aguero in front of him last season.
Yeah.
And he still managed to get his. I think it was his 500th Premier League goal last season. So we obviously Pulisic, I think.
Joe B says, "Are you sure it's Dad with the crazy pills?" I know he's not talking no sense, is he?
I think Pulisic is going to miss this one out. I think purely because of the interest from Scum and a few clubs. I think that their striker situation is going to really benefit us. Obviously, having Lukaku throwing a hissy fit and going back on loan to Inter Milan, and Timo Werner going back to RB Leipzig, they have a real problem with strikers at the minute. So I think we're going to see a one at the front, possibly 2 of Mason Mount and Havertz in sort of that front line role. But they'll obviously play a lot deeper. I think Havertz is going to be a bit of a problem for us aerially because of how tall he is.
Jason Redshaw, my friend, you are speaking. You're a man of my own heart. But for me, guys, I'm going to put this out there, and I'm going to say this now. I'm going to say this now. I'm going to have a bit of a rant. I'm going to have a bit of a rant. Any Leeds fans that are watching this, you have not seen every single team in this Premiership and this Premier League. You have not seen every single team get pressed the way we are going to press them this year. Leeds United are going to press some teams into last week. We're going to press them so hard. I'm in a situation where I'm seeing Aronson. I'm thinking he's going to take this Premier League this year by storm. He's 2 games in, and he already looks like there are games he's going to have this season where he's going to rip certain certain defenders a new one in terms of how he's going to play, how he's going to press. We only need to win the ball on 2 or 3 occasions in that final third, and Aronson to have that ball at his feet for us to have a shooting opportunity. One thing that Leeds United did not have last year, and particularly the year before, even though Bamford was playing, is we didn't create the chances we are going to create this season. Now, Chelsea's played Tottenham. Chelsea's played Everton. They have not played a super pressing side like we are going to be this season. And you might turn around here and say Tottenham beat Southampton 4-0 and that they're a side that plays similar to us. There were no similarities between that side that we played last weekend in terms of the quality that we've got on the ball compared to the quality that they've got on the ball. Leeds United are going to surprise some fans this season, let alone some other teams. And I think, okay, we may not win this game, but I'll tell you what we will do. We will challenge in this game, and we will be competitive in this game, and we will give account of ourselves in this game, and we will play entertaining football, and people will look at us at the end of that game and think, you know what, Leeds United are not to be sniffed at. We've played top 4 opposition, and we've given them a good run for the money. And anybody who thinks different, I defy you to click that link and come on and explain to me why you think we're going to get turned over really easily by Chelsea this season, because that's not going to happen on Sunday. We're going to give a good account of ourselves. We may not win the game, but we will come out of the game proud to see our team perform. Trust me when I say that. And I defy you to come on and say otherwise. And I defy you to say otherwise. You're going to be grounded if you're not careful.
Okay. At the risk of being grounded, I think this could be a 2-0 to Chelsea, but we'll go down fighting. No, I think it will be a 2-0 to Chelsea, but I think we'll go down fighting. Possibly a 3-1 to Chelsea. But I don't see us. Like I've said, I wouldn't be overwhelmed with a draw because I can sort of see a draw is a possibility.
Who's played left back for Wolves in that game? Or we played against?
Who played left back for Wolves? Ait Nouri.
Ait Nouri, the guy that got the own goal.
Ryan Ait Nouri.
Right. I'm saying something now. We talk about players having other players in their pocket. This guy is not a rubbish left back by any means. And Aronson absolutely battered him for 90 minutes. He was in a situation where this guy could not think for a second on the ball, and Aronson had him and had him and had him and had him. And at one point, he looked up like, "What are you even doing here?" Because the way he closed him down, the speed with which he closed him down, he tackled him to score the first goal. When we scored the first goal in that game.
I think he tackled Johnny Otto.
I think you'll find if you look back, it wasn't.
No,
but is it interesting that he had him all the way through that game? All the way through that game, and it's an irony that Aronson's goal, which wasn't accredited to him, was accredited to the guy that had been pressing and had been his opposite in that game all the way through. He is stunning. He's stunning. Dirty Leeds, brilliant, grounded young man. He's just, mate, he don't know.
May I remind you, Ayling would get into the side at centre back is something that he has been on record saying. 2-2.
Dirty Leeds Sunday. We'll be watching front row between the dugouts. I can't wait.
Lucky for you for getting tickets.
As it is, we didn't get tickets. We weren't able to get tickets, and it's a travesty. I think the ticketing system needs looking at Ellen Road.
Yeah, especially with the faff about with the e-tickets.
Jared Fletcher, Americans are allowed on the channel. Click the link and you can come on. We'd love to talk to you about our new American signings. We're just as excited. You're phoning from the States, click the link and you'll go into the lobby and we'll put you on.
You can click on it.
Provided you're wearing clothes. That's the only thing, you have to be wearing clothes.
Unless it's a scum shirt.
Unless it's a scum shirt, in which case, actually, we probably have some scum fans on here. Just take Mickey out of them.
Yeah. Toby J saying smelly A. Yeah, okay. Feel free to feast off of that. The people in the chat just
so Jared Fletcher, if you want to click the link in the chat, scroll up to the top, click the link, and you'll appear in our lobby, and then we'll put you on. Anybody else? I think from that Chelsea game, I think look, we've got it in us. If we turn up, I think the question has been that has made the difference between these two games is the way in which we've managed the game and the way in which we've closed the game out. So the first game, obviously, we made the changes that we need to make. Jesse Marsh was instrumental in doing that. We brought Click on. He had a massive impact upon that game. Then we were in a situation in the second game where it was glaringly obvious to everybody watching the game, look, Jesse, you need to make some changes. and he didn't make the changes in time. And that was a real shame. That's, in my opinion, what cost us those 2 points. I think Jesse got away with it with the fan base to a certain extent, because we were all then buzzing watching Man U go down and get thrashed. We've been to Brighton this last weekend, and we still saw more Man United shirts walking about than we did Brighton shirts, which is a travesty. Bearing in mind we're in Brighton and they've beaten recently. Joseph, the match reminds me of Liverpool versus Salzburg. Marsh will fight, never bunker.
There is a video of his halftime team talk rolling about somewhere on YouTube. When we brought him in, we brought him in, the first video I watched of him when I looked up his name was the halftime team talk for Salzburg, and he spoke a bit of Italian, he spoke a bit of French, he spoke a bit of German mixed in with a bit of English swear words. He seemed like quite a bilingual fella, but he looked like he got the players really riled up, and that's what he is. He's a man manager, isn't he?
Yeah, Neil Scrivens, we're wide open at the back and going to concede goals. They got fast players on the flanks. We have conceded 3 goals against mediocre teams at best. Good point.
Yeah, they've conceded 3. They've conceded 4 goals from us. So.
Yeah, and that's the point. That we're talking about conceding goals against mediocre teams, but we're playing top teams like Chelsea.
But we are a mediocre team. We are a mediocre team. Being realistic, we are a mediocre team. At the minute, we are. Let's look at where we finished last season. We are in no way. If City had had those 2 results, pardon?
Yeah, the link is appearing in the chat. If you want to come on, please click the link. That's the point of the phone in. If
City had conceded that, then you'd have had something to worry about. You'd been able to call them mediocre teams. But we are a mediocre. We have conceded 3 goals to teams that are in and around us in the table, and were in and around us last season. Just full stop, really. There, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, this players. I mean, if you're a Yank or you're an American, you're supporting
a Yank. Oh, you can't call it like
you're supporting Leeds United. Then what happens when Pulisic goes to Scum? Because you can't support Scum and support Leeds. It don't work that way.
They've also got an American owner in Todd Bowley. But we've got Jared on, so we're going to chuck you on now, mate. Hello, Jared.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. What's that shirt that you've got on?
That's Ajax. Why not? Yeah.
Some good shirts.
All the Leeds stuff as well.
Jared, tell us. Obviously, you're from the States. Tell us about what's brought you to this Leeds United channel.
Say that last part. What?
Tell us what's brought you to this Leeds United channel.
Well, I think I follow Connor and Joe and everyone else. They kind of keep you connected. Mainly during COVID, it was a way for me to stay, close with Leeds and the news and everything going on, and just kind of became a little bit more of a fan of the YouTube versus listening to Sky Sports. I feel like it's a little bit more of an honest perspective, which I can definitely relate to. I love this channel because you guys kind of tell it as it is. That's what I come here for, to kind of.
Well, I do.
I was just about to say that. I do. But yeah.
But no, I'm enjoying it. I know since Father's Day, I'm a father of 2 myself, so I can relate. I know since Father's Day you started the channel, so I think it's really cool. And then plus, I was a Leeds fan before the American influx. I mean, how can you not? I'll never be a top 6 supporter. I don't understand the
glory fans.
I just can't get into something that you just buy and buy and buy, and there's no, there's no academy, there's no, I don't know. I can't. It's like being a Yankees fan for baseball in the States. It's just.
What do you think of the choice of American signings that we've made, that we've brought in? What's your thoughts on Tyler Adams? What's your thoughts on? Because obviously, if you're a Leeds United fan and you pre-exist the whole American invasion which we're experiencing with Jesse Martin.
It's pretty crazy. We went from really Pulisic. He was mainly the mainstay in the Premier League, and Weston McKennie. He plays for Juventus, but there's a big influx of Americans. Sort of Malik Tillman plays for Rangers now, so there's it's becoming more and more
you got
a common thing to see more Americans in the top echelon of European football. Tyler, I'm a big fan. I've seen Tyler play, from his Red Bull days. He's a hell of a competitor. He will get in there. He'll stick his nose in there and get dirty. Brendan's he's just sort of taken off the last 3-4 years, he's just exploded onto the scene. You know, when he played for Philadelphia Union, he was just this wiry, skinny kid that, you know, just running around everywhere. But his growth at Salzburg is just remarkable to see him take off in the way he's able to create now, rather than just running around with a lot of pace. And he's actually, you know, able to create, which is big. The one I want is his brother. I mean, he is. I don't know if you guys have heard about Paxton, but he is going to be just as good as his brother, if not a higher ceiling. So I'm hoping Victor knows about Paxton Harris.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on that? Because I mean, Paxton's my understanding of it is Paxton's a striker.
I'd say he's more of an attacking midfielder. That's where
so he plays the same sort of role as his brother. Then.
Yes, correct. He's just a little bit that creativity that maybe we didn't see with Brendan earlier in his MLS. I mean, Paxton's probably 17.
Paxton's more the creativity, and then Aronson's more the final third.
How far away?
I mean, Paxton. Hold on, Paxton can score. Paxton can score. He can put the ball in the back of the net.
But if we sign, I mean, obviously we've seen with Somerville when he's come on, he's doing it and really doing it on the under 23s and the under 21s, and he's sticking the ball in the back of that. We saw him against Palace under 23s, and he absolutely. I mean, he scored a hat trick. He was all over them like a rash. They did not know what to do with him. But then we put him in the first team, and he just looks a little bit lightweight because he's not quite old enough.
Yeah.
How far is, because this is the other thing, Aronson's 21 years old. He's not the biggest lad, but his athleticism causes him to be able to compete in a way that, for me, Somerville's not quite there yet. Where's Paxton in relation to, let's say he came to a club like Leeds United? How far away from the starting 11 would he be?
We're honestly 3-4 years probably down the road, just from a physical standpoint of the Premier League. Paxton still needs to grow in the MLS. He needs to get a little bit filled out physically. He could not take the every week, physicalness of the Premier League. There's just no way. I've seen him go into maybe in Australia, maybe the Bundesliga, somewhere there, maybe then jumping. But if Leeds could get on him earlier and then just keep loaning him out, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, it has been said, and obviously there's the link, and I don't know. I mean, obviously there's a precedent from Leeds' point of view with the Wallace brothers. I mean, how long have you supported Leeds United?
During the championship years, I was. It was the year before Bielsa took over, so it was still in the. Yeah, correct. And just go ahead.
What was it that actually caused you? Because obviously you live a long way away, different times.
I live in Florida, actually, of all places.
What was it that switched you on?
I was stationed in the Army. I was in the United States Army, but I had to go to England a bunch, and I was up near RAF Molesworth. It's like in Cambridge area, it's Peterborough. And then we got a chance to go up, and Leeds were still in the, I think at that time they were still, I don't even think we were in the championship. I think we're actually in league. Anyway, it was not a hard ticket to get, and I went to Ellen Road, and I fell in love with it, and I've just kept up with it. And now that they've been promoted, and you talk about the 49ers and the American influx, and the American market has been weird to catch on. The Premier League has just sort of exploded over the last 4 or 5 years, really exploded to where you've got numerous games on the weekend. I mean, here in the States, we have Peacock, which is a service that we have, and we can stream all Premier League games
called Peacock.
Simultaneously, correct.
I've used it to get games before.
Called Peacock.
Yeah, so it's on. All games are continuously on. There's not a game that you can't check. Hell, you can even check championship games now on ESPN Plus here in the States. So, like tomorrow, I'll watch Norwich, I think in Millwall playing tomorrow. So that'll be the game I'll be checking out. Yeah, correct. Right. Yeah, so checking out Jamie and Charlie. I know Jamie probably might not make it back, but big Charlie Cresswell fan. I'm loving that he's getting that time. But you know, with Cooper and Lorente sort of gets dinged up at times, you just hope that we don't, you know what I'm going with that.
Do you think we'll turn Chelsea out? Just before I ask that question, We had a Jason in the chat, but we're going to put you on, Jason. If you want to come back and click the link again, we will put you on.
And EYFT, there is a link.
Anybody else wants to click the link, we will put you on. How do you think we're going to do at the weekend?
You know, it's crazy. I saw a report that Conte and I believe Kovacic they're both are doubtful for this weekend. I think that's a big deal. I think Chelsea's midfield
was out.
What's that?
I didn't know Kovacic might be out.
Yeah, so Kovacic is apparently he's been battling. He hasn't played much in the first 2 games, or if at all.
For me, he's one of the underrated players in the league. Kovacic. Yeah. The way that he controls play in the middle and Kante is just brilliant.
Yeah, with him and Jorginho and Gallagher. I mean, come on, Conor Gallagher's a stud, but
wish we could have had him.
What's that?
Wish we could. He came.
Of course, he went to Crystal Palace instead. Broke my heart.
And everything, and then he just
he wanted to go to Crystal Palace. I thought we had a chance to get him on loan, and that would have been just, oh my God, a game changer if we got him on loan last year.
It wasn't. Yeah.
Crystal Palace.
Do you think we're going to get something out of the game?
I do. I think I hope so. I hope for a draw. I really do. I think the thing with me, honestly, is we need to keep Chelsea off the board early. It seems like we sort of concede these goals in the first 10, 15 minutes and we're playing catch up. I'd like to see us hold them at least to goalless, at halftime and see if we can sneak something in second half. But I'll go with a 1-1 draw with my heart, and head says 2-1 Chelsea. But I'm not a predictor. But
thanks ever so much for coming on, Jared. That's been brilliant. I do get the impression that with the way that we are pressing, Stuart and Jason, we will get to you. I do, with the way that we're pressing and with the way that we're playing, I do think there's an extent to which we will probably wear teams down. The goals that we're scoring seem to be a little bit later on in the game, which is really, really interesting. Although, granted, we lost 2 goals to late goals, but it took us to the end of the first half to actually get to a point where we were in that goal-scoring vein. And I think there's a situation whereby the way that Harrison plays, the way that Harrison is playing, the way that we're doing that press, players are going to get frustrated with that, and the opposition, that is. And I don't necessarily think we're going to be snatching early goals, but I think what we're going to find is that the longer we go through the game, before the opposition is making substitutions, the more potent that we're going to be, the more mistakes that we're causing, and lapses of concentration with the opposition teams. And I do think that game management is going to be really important. It's really important for Jesse Marsh to pull his socks up and get that right. Just before we get Jason on, Jed Halpin, regarding transfers, I think Orta is waiting to see what phone calls they get next week of availability of players itching for minutes before the World Cup. I think that's a really, really good point. We do see a flurry of activity at the back end of these transfer windows as players suddenly become aware of the fact that they need to now make a move. Clubs become aware of what they've got in the first couple of games. Certainly they're going to see who they're going to be starting, who's going to be surplus to requirements. This might be the time when we get bargains. I'm hoping we're not doing that transfer market. I would be gutted if we're doing that transfer window. Yeah. I would like to see us bring a left back in like everybody else. There is news. There is whisperings.
Guerrero from Dortmund is. I think they've got American links as well. I don't know if they have American owners or something, but I know Gio Reyna definitely is a massive influence there.
EYFT.
Also, how do you ring we had we signed a new assistant manager, and he came from Dortmund as the assistant coach, and so it's possible that Guerrero would follow.
Yeah, EYFT, again, how do you ring in? Again, if you look at the comments there, it was a while ago. Feel free to click the link.
We've got It's Called Soccer, who we did a video with about a couple of months ago. Hit that thumbs up. Yeah, cheers for that.
Yeah, please hit the thumbs up, hit the like, and also subscribe if you're not already subscried.
If you want to come on, we'd love to have you on again. So just click the link.
Paul Cook, how do you think we will beat Scum this season? I just love to see us beat them.
It'll be a Dan James hat-trick.
I'd love to see us beat Scum this season.
Yeah.
And I'd love to get us 4. If we get 4 points of them this season.
Shall we?
Bono, Houston, Paddy back. It looks like he's going to be back. Again, it looks like it was a precaution, but it is a worry. I mean, was Marsh taking him off just to make a point that we need a new striker? Jason, I'm going to get you on in a second. Paddy, Bono, you're always active in the comments. If you want to come on, please click that link.
We'll have you on.
We'll have you on. Everybody at this moment in time who comes on. Jared, thanks for coming on. Right, it's called soccer. You're also welcome to come on. So, Jason.
No, Jason, and then we'll have Stuart.
Jason, let's have a chat with Jason. How you doing, buddy?
Not so bad, guys. How are you?
We're all right. Where do we find you today? Whereabouts do you live?
I live in Huddersfield. So
you live in Huddersfield?
I'm full of dog botherers.
Dog botherers, yeah.
Dog botherers. Lovely place to come from. Not a very nice place to go back to.
Yeah, I'm originally from Leeds.
Oh, good. Great to have you on the show. What do you think about the game? What struck you as your, positives and negatives? Again, when we look at the Southampton game last weekend, what did you make of it?
I like the fact that we're a compact system. I'm just worried about the fullbacks.
Yeah, I think everybody's the same. And, it's one of those things where I think time is going to tell. And it also, you know what? I think we've done enough in the games that we've played. And I think, for me, it is the way I see it, right? We're all worried about what those fullbacks are doing defensively. Yeah. I think if we look at Firpo's form last season, I think you'd have to be a complete and total fruitcake to think that Firpo is going to be the only main left back at the club if you were expecting him to do a lot of defending. You'd have to be mad.
I didn't want him from last season. I didn't even want him as a left back this season. I wanted 2 left backs in, let alone one.
But Jason, here's the question: if you free Firpo from 80 or 90% of his defensive responsibilities by employing a double pivot, where you've got 2 central defensive midfielders that cover and a back and another back bank of 3 players that cover when he marauds forward, what do you think about him going forward in terms of what you've seen? Because let's be rank about it. Underneath Bielsa, I think he had those defensive responsibilities, never quite learned how to operate with Harrison properly on that left-hand side. But
it's the turning circle of the QE2, so he can't defend.
Yes.
He's a left winger.
Forward? What do you think about him going forward?
Oh, I like him going forward against Blackpool.
Okay. Now, when we look at Rasmus, for me, Rasmus, when you look at him on that right-hand side of Aronson, he looks really good going forward.
He scares the absolute shit out of me, because when he came, we thought, Rasmus is a new Pontus. And he's had 2 really bad games. I'd have Ayling back in there.
But is that because not because of Rasmus as a player, but we're questioning his positioning and the fact the ball's coming over and he's not there? He's not there because he's not meant to be there. Because ultimately...
But I think we're going to get torn apart on Sunday against Chelsea.
Is he employing him as a second winger, effectively? Is he employing Firpo as a second winger? Does that make sense?
Mate, you're sounding a bit like a Terminator from Doctor Who. We can't... I think we've lost you. Give it a second.
Are you there? Are you back?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, yeah, what we're talking about Firpo is really the system he suits as a left wing back role.
And that's the question. The question is the ball's going over the top, and we're questioning whoever we've got at left back or right back. We're questioning where they are positionally, because obviously they're up the pitch and they're going to be further up the pitch. They're going to be further up the pitch because ultimately we're employing them as attacking players, as second wingers almost. We were expecting them to cross over with the prospective wingers on that side. When the ball comes up over, they're not going to be there.
Guys,
no, we're not. So you're talking about the double pivot, which is good.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're good enough to do that. Do we need a third centre-back in there?
Do we need a third centre-back? Well, the question is...
Yeah. I think Nathan Collins from Burnley was my first pick. I wouldn't have minded Ben Mee for some experience and leadership. But I think we do need another centre-back. Chris Richards even went to Palace, would have even been a brilliant signing, and the American link. But we definitely, for me, we need another, especially if Firpo goes out injured and we move straight to left back.
Well, if you were going to do 3 at the back, I wouldn't have put Charlie Cresswell on loan. I'd have kept him because he'd got minutes.
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of the fans are saying. But I think Marsh thinks he needs a bit more game time.
Whether it's going to work or not is yet to see. I mean, one really, really good test at the weekend is when we played Chelsea. Now, what's your prediction for the Chelsea game, Jason?
I was going with Dan. In fact, I've gone with Dan with a lot of his results, and I've won a lot of money with it. Thanks, Dan.
Hey!
But yeah, I'm thinking 3-0. I think we're
What,
going to get absolutely
Chelsea?
hammered. I think we're going to get torn apart
I think
down the wings because of Reece James and Big Airy Boy.
I do have Reece James in my fantasy team, so if anyone was to score, then it should be him.
My friend, I really, really, really hope you're wrong. I really do.
I hope I'm wrong because I'm from the age where you are. When I started supporting Leeds, it was Howard Wilkinson. We won the title. I was there at Sheffield United when Scum lost it, and then we won by about 4 or 5 points. And then the David O'Leary sides. So yeah, I'm feeling your pain, mate.
I can remember when we went up, and I think we were playing Sheffield United when we scored the goal that sent us up. And I remember going screaming down the stairs because I was listening to it on radio with my dad, and my dad weren't there; he'd gone out. My mum had enforced that he had to go out somewhere. I remember we were running down the stairs screaming, and there were 2 doors at the bottom of the stairs, and I turned left to go through the door, which was shut. It weren't open. Normally it would open, and they'd gone out, and I nearly knocked myself out when Leeds went up. So I remember them days when we were having massive wins against Sheffield Wednesday as well.
When we won the title, we beat Sheffield United when Brian Gale scored the own goal. And if he'd just left it, he'd have been the guy had been offside. But we still won. And then Scum went and lost to Liverpool.
It's been brilliant having you on, Jason. We will do another one of these phone-ins. You are more than welcome as a guest on the show at any time. We have loads of people want to come. If anybody else wants to get on the show, please click the link. Click the link in the actual comments. It's there. It's in the description, I believe. If you want to come on, then you're more than welcome to come and talk to us.
It's called Soccer, suggesting Anthony Robinson from Fulham. Yeah, I said a few streams ago that I really wouldn't have him, but having watched some USMNT games and watching Fulham against Liverpool and Wolves, he's grown on me a bit. He seems like it would be a solid backup option to Firpo if Firpo stays in the form that he found at the end of last season, because last few games he was doing pretty decent. But Anthony Robinson, I wouldn't mind him. I would much prefer Guerrero. We have Stuart in the waiting room, so let's chuck Stuart on.
Hi, Stuart. How are you doing?
Oh, you lads, how's it going?
It's going all right. Do I sense an Irish twang there?
No, Isle of Man.
Isle of Man. Oh,
Yeah.
How are you doing? Tell us about how long you've been a Leeds fan then.
Sorry, say that again?
How long have you been a Leeds fan?
No, all my life. I think my dad was from Bradford. So yeah, my granddad was a Leeds fan. Dad was a Leeds fan. Just like yourselves, really. Family of Leeds fans. My daughter's a Leeds fan. You know how it goes. But
so what did you make of the Southampton game?
Well, obviously the defense is shaky. But on that point, I think it was a bit of a madness to let Creswell go on loan. To be honest, I would have thought that if he would have stayed at the club this season, by Christmas he would have been challenging for first team place. I think he's a solid defender. He's a Leeds lad. I just don't understand why we let him go. I know Cooper gets a lot of stick, but you know what you're going to get with Cooper. So for me, I was envisaging by Christmas, Cooper, Creswell. Okay, they weren't going to make top 4 defence, but it would have been solid enough to keep us up and things.
What about Strike and Cock though? What about those two? What happens? What comes of those two?
It's a good question. I don't know. I know that most Leeds fans think that they're decent. I'm still not sold on them, to be honest. They just seem, every time we're attacked, they just seem a little bit jittery. Maybe they need more games. I don't know. But I just think if I had to put my money on things, I would have Cooper in there. He gets a lot of stick, and I know he's got his flaws, but you know what you're getting from him. He's solid enough. He's a solid enough centre-back that would keep us kind of 15th, 14th kind of thing. And I think we've done Creswell a bit dirty, really. I have no idea why they've put him out on loan. He really, really should have stayed this season. And by Christmas, I think he's a shouting for a first-team place. Solid fella. Under 23s, he's known as a leader. Leeds lads. I just think it was a bit of a madness, really.
Yeah, I see that, and I've to be honest with you, my initial thoughts were much the same. Cooper's an interesting one because, I mean, for me, if I'm completely honest with you, I think the two best centre backs at the club are Strauch and Koch. And the reason why I say that is Strauch, for me, had a breakthrough season last season.
Yeah.
Koch has played, I mean, Koch even played in the game where we beat Tottenham the previous season, where we absolutely mullered them. You know, the best game we had previous season. He played in that. He actually didn't even play in defence. He played in central defensive midfield in the Calvin Phillips role. But when you put Koch in his appropriate position, he seems to play well, and he even gets the odd shot on goal. But for me, I think what's really, really important with any team is consistency in that pairing. And that's not something we had at all last season. So when you start looking at any two of these players and you have them consistently playing together week in, week out, how many back four combinations did we have last season?
14 back two centre back pairings. We have 14.
Yeah, I don't disagree. They're technically better players, but I just think how last season ended. And going into this season, I would have just gone for just a solid centre back. Okay, he's not going to set the world alight, but you know what you're getting from Cooper. He's fairly sturdy. They just seem very jittery, Strauch and Koch together. They just seem extremely jittery. Maybe a few more games that might sort out. But for me, I don't think we should have let Creswell go. Just for this season, obviously we need to move on from Cooper. But for this season, I would just banked on Cooper, mate.
Yeah.
But that's sorry, lads. That we were just the point I wanted to ring up and make was about the going on for the cups. Now I'm 38 this month, so I vaguely remember Leeds winning the league. I mean, I think I more vaguely remember my dad watching the VHS tape about the season of that, and to me, I would quite happily finish 16th and go for a cup, mate. I'm nearly 40 years old and I've never really seen any glory. So for me, I'd finish 16th, me, and win the calling, or whatever we call it now, the League Cup or whatever. You know, I really want to see some glory at Leeds, a cup, something like that. Huh?
You
Say that again, sorry.
You want to day at Wembley?
No, as I said, I was in the Isle of Man, but you know, I need. I want to see some glory, me lads. I want to see a cup. I want to see a good cup run. I want to see us in a final. And as I said, I wouldn't give a toss if we finished 16th. To be honest, if we had a good cup run, got to a semi, got to a final, I just want to see some glory as a Leeds fan. I'm nearly 40 years old, and I can't remember really the last time that we had that glory. So for me, I just want to see a cup, lads. For me,
yeah, no, I get that, and that's an interesting way of putting it. For me, I think, I'll be completely honest with you, I'd love to see us finish 7th or 8th and qualify for European and be challenging in Europe. That for me is, as soon as we can get to a point where we're in some kind of European competition, I think it's seeing the club progress. Because in terms of the players we can then go and sign, bearing in mind we've got European football, it's a constant progression as to where we need to be. Because really, Leeds United belong in the top 6.
They do, and I'm not saying. I'm just saying for this season, really. I don't see us getting in the top 6 this season. I see us probably comfortably surviving. And I just think these teams that are like 15th, 14th, 13th, 12th, they're not getting relegated. They're not qualifying for Europe. Just go for a cup. Just go for it, lads. Just go for a cup. For me, I mean, obviously you're probably a little bit older than me. You probably remember a bit of glory more than I do. And I'm nearly 40 years old, and I've never really seen Leeds win anything. Leeds win anything.
I remember watching. And again, go back and watch those videos. There were all sorts of stuff going on in the background. I mean, Cantona left Leeds United for £1 million and went to Man United.
Yeah.
And if you dig around, you'll find out why.
Oh, the Chapman thing. Yeah. As I said, I vaguely remember that things, but I wasn't old enough to really appreciate it. So for me, you know, we're finishing 15th, 14th, 12th, 13th. Just go for a cup, lads. Just give us a bit of glory. That's what I want. But
yeah,
I know that might be in the minority, but so I've probably got two minority views here. I'd have Cooper and Creswell. Well, not right now, but I would have envisaged Creswell by Christmas. And I want to see us go for a cup run. We've had some shocking cup results in the last decade. You know, Sutton and I can't remember. You know, really shitey teams beating us. Sorry for the language. Really bad teams. You know, beating us. And we haven't took the cup seriously for years. And I'd like to see it. I'd like to see a good old run in the cup, mate. Watching
us knock Man United out the cup a few years
ago.
Oh
yeah, that was good. That was good. Yeah.
Oh, that was good. Yeah. I've actually got Man United fans at work, and I've got work, and I've got Villa fans and Everton fans at work.
I remember
about that game.
Yeah. I remember as a kid. As you talking about Cantona, Cantona just moved to United. I don't know if it was the first season or the second season, and United beat us. I think I remember this correctly anyway. And Cantona scored a penalty. I don't know if you remember that for United. And I can't remember the result, but I remember United when I was only a little lad, and I remember bawling my eyes out. You know, it was very, very upsetting at the time. You know, as a kid. But yeah, I just want to
weekend against Chelsea.
As I said, I really think any team with a bit of firepower is just going to cut right through us, lads. I think that's why I would go for a Cooper in that, because the likes of the Southamptons and the Wolves, I don't think they're scoring against us with the likes of Cooper at the back. The Chelsea's and that, I just think they're just going to cut right through us. I mean, I don't think Southampton would have cut through us like that with Cooper at the back. I know he's not great, but he's a sturdy Gurdy. And he's okay against your likes of your Southamptons, your Wolves, your Evertons, or all those. I just think these two pairing, they're just so jittery. You just don't know what's going to happen. You just watch it. The moment the team attacks, you're just thinking they're going to get a shot off. Hopefully, Meslier is having a good game. If he's not, it's 3-4, 5-0. And I'm not hopeful for the Chelsea game, lads, to be honest. I'm really, really not. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, I'm still hoping we'll get something out of it. It's been great to have you on, Stuart. Thanks ever so much.
No worries, thank you.
Listen,
so much.
Next time we do one of these, get yourself in our lobby, and we'll bring you back again.
No worries, lad.
What's your one quick one? What's your prediction for the weekend? If you're going to stick your neck out and predict a score,
I'd say 3-1. I like Aronson. I like this American connection we're building. Any degree that's another point with the cup. Any degree of success. Could you imagine the amount of American support we would get? Could you imagine Leeds winning the League Cup and how that would be sold in America? For us, it's just the League Cup, but the way they'd sell that in America would be amazing. Any kind of success right now, lads. You know, we'd get an awesome amount of American following. I think.
Yeah, really good point.
But let's see how it goes anyway, boys. But good luck.
Let's come back again.
Daniel, we had you in the chat room, but you seem to have left. We had you in the lobby, but you've left. So if you want to join again, mate, then please do.
We've got a few people asking how to join. If you want to go onto the actual comments, Dan, if you post the link again, we'll continue to post the link. Just click on the link, you'll appear in our lobby, and we'll put you on. Some interesting questions there in terms of Leeds and cup success. I think one of the videos we did a while back, we were doing a video about the fact that with an increased squad and with players like Ayling coming back, with players like Pascal Strout staying at the club, well, being not necessarily first choice centre back when Firpo comes back. But anyway, we've got a multiple layered, centre back offering. We've got Click. We've got players that like Forshaw who aren't necessarily going to get the minutes, but are almost not far off like replacements for some of our first team, who could get into another Premier League side. So bearing that in mind, that warrants a cup run of some description, because we've got players that are knocking on the door and players that aren't getting an opportunity to play. You need to keep those happy. You need to be giving them minutes, and a cup run is definitely a way of doing that. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I think a cup run would be really good. And we've said before, Marshall likes the cups. He's won the Austrian Bundesliga Cup a few times. I think he won I think he won it 3 times in a row, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, he's had good cup runs in Germany. He's a guy that likes the cups. We've seen as well at Salzburg and Leipzig that he likes to play the younger players. He likes to give the the young guys a chance. He likes the little guy.
Gary Mellor says, do you think Man U will finish top
Man
7?
United will be lucky to get top 12.
You know what? Just a fit. I again lived in a generation where Leeds United were Gary Kelly and Gary Speed, where I lived through that transitional period between when we first came up and we had Mel Sterland in that role, and where we had like Carl Shutt playing for Leeds and players like that. Gary McAllister was my favourite player, and I just remember getting the bus to school and there'd be loads of Man U fans who were they just did me head in because none of them had ever been to Manchester. And we lived through those glory days for them where they just constantly used to brag about how they were playing, bearing in mind, they use the term we, bearing in mind they were supporting a club they'd never had anything to do with. I lived in Wakefield. Why are you supporting Man U? You're not from Manchester. You don't live in Manchester. You've not got that kind of accent. Your parents aren't from Manchester. You've never been from Manchester. You don't know where Manchester is and you support Man U. Why do you support Man U? And just having to listen to them drone on and on and on and on. And I actually think now our start is rising. And I think they're in all sorts of trouble. And it's just being able to see them play at the weekend and struggle the way they did against Brentford and watch Brentford beat them. Bear in mind, Brentford's best player left to go and play at Scum during pre-season. I'm just absolutely buzzing. Will they finish below 7th?
Yes.
I would love for them to finish below 7. Dirty Leeds saying, living through the bad times in the late 70s and 80s, Leeds was hard, but loved it growing up. And again, this is the other thing. I remember when we went down to League One and when we were in a situation with that points deduction where we made the playoffs and not getting promoted straight away was hard. But I remember we got a backs to the wall situation where Leeds were getting 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 attendances where the Leeds fans were getting behind the team. We'd not got a lot to be happy with. We'd got managers that were just nowhere near the quality that we needed at the time. We were on our way down, and when we hit rock bottom, there were only one way, and that we're up again. And now we're back where we should be. It's just they weren't all bad times. They weren't all bad times to the Leeds fan because we've had some promotions and we've had some good times in that whole period. But now we're getting back somewhere where we need to be. We need to push on now. We need to be winning games and competing in games like against teams like Chelsea if we're going to move up to the next level. Looking at some of the comments, Jared Fletcher, we all hate Scum, but I do find it funny that Man United can be ahead of Liverpool after week 3 if they beat them on Monday. Yeah, I do agree. But again, I think I'll be rooting for Liverpool. And you go on holiday and you see a Liverpool fan and you sing "Stand Up If You Hate Man U, Wait Man U, Wait Man U, Wait Man U," and everybody can agree on that. I know you found that certainly in recent times when you've been talking to other fans. McTominay, what do you think of him, Dan?
McTominay, I was watching Sharky Does Sports and they were talking about he doesn't even start in his preferred position for his national team, which is just he doesn't even start for Scotland, which is just like madness. He's another level of just bad at football. He's nowhere near. I mean, he is Manchester United level because Manchester United level is bad, but I don't think that he's anywhere near as good as the midfield 3 they've got in Eriksen, Fernandes, and if they get him, Casemiro.
Jed Halfin says McTominay will turn into prime Zidane when they play us.
He's just going to foul everyone because that's what he did last time. Neil Evans, what about Ainsley Maitland-Niles from Arsenal, I believe? Nottingham Forest were in the race to sign him, quite a few clubs. I think he went to Roma on loan last season, but I think that he would be a mint addition to the team. But I don't think that it's going to happen. Radjanota need to be gone. No, they don't. Radjanota bought us Bielsa. Radjanota bought us up. Give him time, lad. Give him time. Give him this season.
Alioski back at this point. Jared Fletcher. And you know what? Yeah, I see your point. And you know what? One thing I will say is with this pressing football that we're playing, Alioski and his engine, he would suit it. He would suit it. I would be really curious to see what Jenny Alioski how he would be performing now. I mean, bear in mind, we didn't have issues with fitness for a start off. Would he be performing better than Firpo when Firpo's fit? I mean, Jenny Alioski, he did partner well with Harrison. He did give us something going forward. Again, he had defensive frailties. He kind of fits the profile of the player that Marsh may well be looking for, but obviously that ship has sailed now. So he ain't going to be coming to Leeds anytime soon. Shame, because I probably would have had him back. I know a lot of detractors said that we don't want to look back and all that kind of stuff. But for me, I think he'll suit the system quite well. So again, we've got Dirty Leeds saying being all over the world with Leeds, but the best day was when Beckford scored at the Scum in 2010. I have to say, and I was at the time. Wayne Rooney played in that game. They put a strong side out. They put a strong side out and we beat them. So yeah, that was a good day. Is there anybody else wants to come on the chat? Please, obviously hit the link and you can come on. If you've not liked the video already, please like it. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. And if you've not clicked the notification bell, then please also hit the notification bell. So Notorious Nemo, it's 3 a.m. in America. Where is the jerseys to buy?
Shop.leedsunited.com. Or if you want to fly down to Ellen Road or the White Rose, then you can also get one from the club shop. But I don't think that you're going to be doing that short notice, pal.
It shows how brave us Leeds fans are to wear salmon-coloured shirt. Match on together, lads. Super Leeds United. Billy Bremner. We aren't signing anyone.
No, I think we will. I think we will sign. I think we're more likely to sign a striker. I do think that we're just waiting for that right name to pop up. I don't think we want to go out and just sign a randomer or someone that's being hyped up but isn't all that, a la Brereton Diaz.
So what's our thoughts on Bamford this game? Do we think Bamford's going to play a full 90 minutes? Do we think he's going to score?
No, I don't think he's even going to start.
I think he's going to start?
Injured at a sick note. I think if he is available, then he'll possibly get 20 minutes at the end. But I think it'll be Rodrigo up front, Aronson in behind, Sinisterra on the left, Harrison on the right. Rodrigo,
another who can't score.
Can't last
90 minutes. Pascal for me, he's the future. Our best centre back, former under-23s captain, a cool head. Can't really fault him. Yeah, Pascal and Cresswell probably are the future, if we're completely honest with you.
Yeah.
Striker and left back, and I could feasibly see us finishing anywhere from 10th to 14th. We'll be happy with that. It depends how again, SJH. It all depends on who we bring in as a striker. If we want somebody that's going to be a pressing kind of player, we also want somebody who's going to be a number 9. The problem with Bamford is he does fit the profile for what we want in this system. He holds the ball. He obviously presses for the first minutes of the last minute. The question is whether we can keep him fit. If he's fit all season and Rodrigo's firing, I can see us hitting those European spots. No, you don't believe that.
12th place, mark my words, we will finish 12th.
Jody, LUSC, really, really, really good comment here. I'd like to see 5 subs used versus Chelsea. Giarbi to be given 45 minutes and record running stats from the players. Jody, that's a really good point. Why can we see Giarbi coming on? Not necessarily as early as the 45th minute, but when we make those impact subs to change the game, assuming there's going to be some game management, can we bring in Giarbi on and click and freshening that midfield up? Yeah. And can we bring pressing players like James into the system? Is James going to start? What's your starting lineup?
My starting lineup is Melier in net, Rasmus at right back, as we don't really have another option other than Drame, and I think Drame does need more time as a substitute. Rasmus at right back. Firpo's still out, so it's got to be Llorente and Cole. They seemed solid against Southampton. They weren't anything special. They weren't anything terrible either. Then Straub at left back, Adams and Rocker in midfield. And then I would have Rodrigo up front, Aronson in behind, and Harrison and Sinisterra on the wings.
And again, that's a really, really good point. with regards to Marsh, he's figured out that Rodrigo can't defend. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Bamford can defend, obviously, but I do think, again, Rodrigo, he is seeming to suit the system that Marsh is trying to play. We can see that from the last 4 games of last season from under Marsh. And we can see that under the first couple, and we can see pre-season that it seems to suit. Again, Jerry's saying that Bamford will always be worried about getting injured. Yes, he will. And there was one other comment here that I thought was a good one. Will Sinisterra be starting?
Yeah, he will be, I reckon.
What is he going to start instead of?
Yeah, Bamford. You move Rodrigo up front. You move Aronson into the
centre,
and you move Sinisterra onto the left wing and Harrison onto the right.
But Harrison's been doing really, really well on the left. He's been performing.
Doesn't matter. We need an attacking midfielder and we need a striker. So Rodrigo's the only capable striker unless you count Dan James, which isn't really right. So you put Rodrigo up front, you put Aronson in behind, give him just punt on it, and then put Sinisterra and Harrison on the wings. That's the only real option unless you want Dan James up front again, which I'm sure we all don't.
Is that what you think?
Yeah. Well, what would you do? What's the?
I'll be honest with you. I mean, it might show a lack of creativity, but I think we'll probably start with the team that we have started all the other games. I think that, ultimately, who's playing badly? Who's playing badly? We talked about Rasmus playing badly. We talked about Pascal Strike again. He actually made it into the European team of the week, and he also made it to the Premier League team of the week as having the best stats is for a left back. So how can you possibly take Strauch out? How can you?
I didn't say take Strauch out. I didn't say take Strauch out.
Would you bring Drami in for Rasmus?
No.
So who's actually played bad enough to get dropped?
No one. No,
so we talk about people winning their plays.
But even though you've got to drop Bamford because he's injured, though.
I'm not sure he is injured.
He is.
Is he back in?
No, he's injured.
Has he had that in the press conference, so he's not going to be starting?
No, but he is injured. He's the injury he's got. Marsh said after the game, and it's one where he's not going to be back for the next game.
Well, if
that's just not, he's not going to be back for the next game.
If that's the case, then yeah, okay, Bamford's out. He's got to play Joffrey. Because
Joffrey's injured as well, you man.
Is Joffrey also injured? Is he out for this game injured?
I think so. That's what the word on the street is.
In which case, he won't pick Sinisterra. He'll pick James.
No, he won't. He'll pick Sinisterra. Sinisterra and Harrison on the wings. James either up front or on the bench. That's it.
Bamford is out for 2 or 3 weeks. Jesse will announce it tomorrow. Yeah,
I know. That's what I'm thinking. That's what it's looking like.
Okay, well, bearing on that in mind, that maybe we're not going to beat Chelsea. Maybe we weren't going to beat Chelsea anyway. It's been great to have everybody on. Yeah. It's been great to see everybody and have the comments in the chat. Again, before you go, please bash your like on that on the way out. Make sure you also subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Yeah. And look out for the videos next time. And if you want to come on next time, then make sure you get yourself in the lobby by following the links. And we'll see you
next time, lads.
Probably after the match.